Ryan said you didn't get a penalty in this little scrimmage here. You were a little upset about what happened.
Yeah, of course. I want to win. We were down 6-5. We had 2 penalties. They didn't let us shoot because if we missed one of them, we'd have to play more games. And, they don't want us to overwork in practice.
You start at right back. The mentality going into the game, is there anything that you change in your approach and how you start? The first ball on your feet, is there anything different about when you play right back?
I think defensively, not taking as many chances, right? I think at right mid, I can afford to get beat by trying to press at times, right? But then when I'm at right back, you kind of have a little bit more conservative approach where, you don't want to get balls played in behind you. In the goal, I could certainly do better. Josh can certainly do better. Yamar can certainly do better. Steph can certainly do better. But, those are the moments where, I need to learn from and I think taking the conservative approach away from home is something that I had in mind too.
But in that, because you caused the first yellow card coming down the line, so will you be concerned? Is there a point that you can also say, okay, here's my opportunity to get in advanced position?
For sure, just like Alex does, right? Taking his chances going forward, right? We're playing where the right back is one of the highest guys on the field on the right side. So, I was able to get a couple crosses, that yellow card, right? There are times where I can bomb forward for sure, but I think conservative more on the defensive end where, I don't get beaten behind, I don't take too many chances defensively, and just have a solid game. But offensively, same attitude, right? Going forward, trying to get crosses in and getting runs in behind.
That midfield is clicking. I mean, they're going this way and switching that way. Possession. Just what does that provide for your offense and ability for Jordan, who else to find space in the box to play?
Yeah, I think it opens up the game for all of us, right? It allows me to get forward when we have possession of the ball. I'm not worried about transition and defending because I know those guys aren't going to lose the ball carelessly. And then it frees up Nico and Leo, who have formed a really good bond over there. With Leo being direct and on the wing, getting the ball to feet, and then him opening up space for Nico. I thought it was really good on the left side. And, having a midfield like I guess the midfield depth that we have is really nice because you see Albert go into the right mid spot and Josh fill in seamlessly.
What does that do when Albert is able to go in that right midfield spot? Because you're right, there's at the time to do a difference.
Yeah, and for Albert, he was playing my normal position where he comes into the midfield almost like a 10. He's not playing like a winger, right? He's playing like a 10, and that's what he's good at. That's what he did at Salt Lake, where he scored double-digit goals. So, we loved his final, ball quality that he has, and seeing that for I think Jordan's 4th goal was his composure to get to spring Leo in behind.
Just speaking of Jordan, for whatever reason, he seems to bring out a lot of strong emotions from opposing fans. What did you make of that celebration at the end? He was a little sheepish about it, but in the time, he seemed to be enjoying himself.
Yeah, it's good. It's always good to see Jordan kind of not be himself for a little bit. He's a really conservative guy. Doesn't say much, keeps to himself quite a bit. And on the field, I really enjoy when he yells at a ref or when he, does a celebration like that. Or LA Galaxy, I think he gave a thumbs up as well a couple years back. It's great to see it. I think on the 3rd goal, he didn't know if he was onside or not, and I think that's why he didn't react the way he did for the 4th goal. But, as professional athletes, right, we get yelled at, and we get told certain things, and it's you're not supposed to let it bother you, but we're also human too. So it was great to see him kind of show off a little bit.
Are the Kansas City fans particularly boisterous in that way?
I think what makes them what makes the stadium so intimidating is for sure their fans, how close they are, how aggressive they are, even on the sidelines. Not just, I think the blue hell is what they call it, but even on the sidelines, they're yelling at you all game. And I've always said, I'd rather play in those type of atmospheres than not, I want people yelling at me. I want people to be rooting against me, because that's what makes our league better than what it has been in years past. So, for Kansas City fans, they need to keep that going. And for us, it's about, just kind of riding out those emotions, and then when we score 4 goals to kind of, show off a little bit.
Speaking of fans yelling at you, no one game is bigger than the other, but if playing LA Galaxy, what is it about you playing down there?
Yeah, it's always really nice to play in front of my family, obviously, first and foremost. They don't get to see me play live as much as they'd want, but it's always great to go down there and get a result and come back with 3 points. For me, I've enjoyed my time down there, scored some goals, and have had a fair amount of goals against Galaxy. Hopefully I can keep that going.
It's not easy to come back and respond after giving up an early goal. Is that a mentality thing of the group, or what gave you guys that opportunity to just come back the way you did?
Yeah, it's great. It's great to come back from 1-0, but look, we need to start games better, right? Like, I think that's something that we've already talked about, away games in particular, right? We can't react to something like that, because we can't come back from a 1-0 every time. So first and foremost, we've kind of established that already within the locker room, coaching staff. And then, great reaction, right? Great. Going down 1-0, tough environment. Really felt like we had control of the game after minute, 30, 25. And felt like we were going to get a second one. And, I'd argue that if that red card didn't happen, we would still be coming home with 3 points. And, I think that's a good thing for us, understanding that we can play it away from home like the way we do at home. And for me, it's more of an attitude that we have to embrace when we're on the road.
From a positional standpoint, how difficult or how quick is it to gain those relationships, like with a guy like Gaymar that maybe you don't work with consistently on the field? Like, how quick, how does that develop?
Yeah, it's tough to develop, right? Because oftentimes my relationship with him is higher up the field, right? Where he's playing me the ball in behind, and now he's playing it to my feet, or we're communicating a lot more, right? Same goes for Kellen on the left side with Jackson. We had 2 guys missing from the back line, right? The back line is always tough to kind of replace. So, forming that bond, obviously in training, it starts in training, but, our relationship has always been good with, balls into the pocket. And so now it just changes a little bit, and Yaymar's a good enough professional to speak to me in Spanish and yell at me when the time's right.
We're in I guess maybe a unique position where you're watching the U.S., a bunch of your teammates play El Salvador, which is obviously your brother, not Honduras. What was that like watching that game? Were you happy to see the U.S. advance out of the Nations League? And if you want to share any updates on if you heard any inside info on Alex.
Yeah, I think obviously I wish I was there to compete against him, right? To see him live, to see or enjoy that with my family, right? My family they were over there watching the game. It's unfortunate that Alex had to come out. I think it was just tightness that it was a little bit precautionary. Not sure entirely. I think he's figuring it out with Chris Cornish and the rest of the staff. And then from actual gameplay, I thought Alex had a really strong game. I thought he played Christian really aggressively, Christian Pulisic really aggressively. Didn't get beat too many times. I think he had a mental lapse at the end of the first half where that cross comes in, and it's fortunate and unfortunate for him that fortunate for us, unfortunate for him that they didn't score. But in the end, happy that the U.S. went through, right? Get a chance to defend our title in Nations League against, I think, potentially Mexico. But another strong performance for Alex, and he continues to grow as a player and as a person.
Do you give him a hard time, will you, or not?
About the game?
Yeah.
No. I won't give him a hard time. He knows. I could see it. I could sense it through the TV. Head down a little bit, right? He knew that he just should have done better on that play, but hopefully he's okay physically because he's a great player for us, and we're gonna need all the bodies that we can have.
You become a big
Last
brother
couple
there
for Cristian, guys.
in terms of that, as opposed to, I'm just flipping the question. You wanted to make a better play. Do you just kind of, when you see him, put your arm around, like, hey, you better keep it up, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, just keep encouraging him, right? I mean, he's old enough and he's experienced enough that he knows, what he does well and what he does poorly. Sometimes you don't have to bring up the things that you do poorly, and then, when you're too high, you need to bring up those things that you do poorly. So for Alex, he's done really well and he continues to do well. So just need to be there whenever he needs me, and he's going to continue to do great.
Were you surprised, or how do you take the fact that you've been called up to the U.S. national team consistently and you weren't as part of this specific call-up?
Yeah, obviously I wish I was there, right? But they wanted to see a lot of the European guys. I did speak with Anthony Hudson. I think a lot of the boys did. There's games coming up. There's Nations League, Gold Cup. I do foresee myself, in with the team at some point. Whether it's this next Mexico game, right, during midweek non-international window, or potentially Nations League, Gold Cup. So hopefully got to continue playing well, right, and I'm only 27. Hopefully I have a long career.
Are you prepared to keep filling in for Alex if he's not able to go?
Yeah, I mean, look, Leo, we gotta, Leo did really well, right? When guys play like that, you kind of have to reward them, right? And those are difficult decisions that our coach has to make. If Alex can't make it, look, I might have to play right back, and that finds a way to get Leo on the field. So we'll see. That's coach's decision, and I'm happy I'm not making that decision.